warm hand of welcome to Jared. Yes,
Jeff Bishop, volleyball coach.
yes, he's my son.
He was my daughter's coach.
Okay.
She's so good, right?
And Jared Bishop, my older son, he coaches maybe PG
Yes,
varsity, or junior varsity.
the JV.
JV.
Got it.
Thank you. Well, I'm delighted to be here. Appreciate this opportunity. Why train? So some you hear that. We hear a lot of that. Why train? You could take that the wrong way. Not why train is no why train. I like this quote from Henry Ford. The only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay.
Yeah. That's true.
So why train? Why train is a convenient, effective way to deliver training and have a digital record kept. I was, as Shane mentioned, about 15 years ago, I was asked to be the training coordinator for Student Services. They have over 300 full-time employees and 2,000 student employees, because it included dining services and BYU store and so forth. And I was told in my job description says, so you're responsible to facilitate all training. And I'm going, how am I going to do that? Well, I wish they'd have had Y-Train then. They didn't. So Y-Train is what's called a learning management system, LMS. And there's lots of different ones out there. This particular one is, our vendor is Net Dimensions. They're headquartered in Hong Kong. And this program that we use is called Talent Suite. We have a team. So I'm in the Human Resource Development Department, which is located in the Jesse Knight building. And I have, our team consists of Tana Ainscoe. She joined us earlier this year. She's an instructional designer. We have a student editor, Cami Anderson, and 2 graphic art designers, Yuna Yoon and Chase Gubler, who help in maintaining, developing course content for Y-Train. In Y-Train, we're able to set up different catalogs, and I'll show you some examples of that, but we've created some little image icons that kind of represent different departments. I think we changed the dining services to blue. They didn't really care about the red color. But we can go into a catalog, and setting up courses, we're able to kind of put them in a library catalog so that the dining services can have their set of courses, and they actually have sub-catalogs. So they could go in and see, here's for vending, and here's for concessions, and here's for the MTC dining. And then they can have their own sets of courses within those catalogs. We have one for information technology, for IT as well. One of the things that we can do in Y-Train is bundle courses together, so we can customize and create training programs that are unique for a particular department or area within a department. So they might, you might want a new employee training program, and you might want to have a course. Maybe you have an orientation, and you want to put that orientation in there, but you also want slips, trips, and falls, or FERPA, or customer service, or telephone etiquette. There's over 700 online modules in Y-Train currently. And those have been contributed by financial services, by physical facilities, by risk management and safety, and other departments have their customized training modules. So here's an example. Catering can have, they have a catering part 1, which is a new employee orientation, part 2. They want them to take a proper glove use, a food safety, a food allergy awareness, and a proper lifting. And we can bundle those together, then create a program. The employee can go in, search for that program, enroll in that program. It automatically enrolls them in all of the learning types or elements or courses that are within that program. They can also have a certificate associated with that, so that when they complete the training, the system automatically sends them an email with a printable certificate. And one of the advantages of having that certificate, some kinds of training need to be reoccurring training. So they need to be, for example, we have in Y-Train the food handlers permit. We've worked with the county, and we have our own curriculum in there. They honor that, so that we can take that training, and an employee, after 3 years, has to recertify. We have that a target or feature set in that particular program, so that 30 days before the 3 years is up, assuming they're still an employee of Bounty Services and need that training, they get an email saying, your food handler's permit is due to expire in 30 days. You need to go back into Y training if you're still an employee and complete that training. We have courses, or these are, most of these courses, when I say courses, we're probably talking average length is for them to be effective 10 to 12, 15 minutes. You don't really want somebody to sit here for an hour. They're going to be multitasking, sending text messages, not really present. So 10 minutes to 12 minutes is really probably ideal. If your content is more than that, then it's probably best to break it into a module 1 or module 2, module 3, that type of thing. But here's an example of some courses. And some of these are some of these are like 15, 20, 25 minutes long. One of the courses that we recently developed for the campus was one on bloodborne pathogens. Our instructional designer, this was her first project as she came on board in February. Did a terrific job with this particular one. We earlier this year created one for the BYU store. And this was kind of a crunch one. They came to us like in January and said, you know, they have one employee that trains all of their staff that need to be involved in the inventory, physical inventory, and they did that usually on President's Day. So they wanted something put together. So we worked and quickly, took a couple, 2-3 weeks. Usually takes longer than that, but it depends on the quality. We put together, it was over a 40-minute training that talked about here's the process and the steps that are required in order to complete the annual inventory and do it in an appropriate way. We have a number of departments who are actively using Y-Train. This is a list of those departments. Recently, University of Records and Information put together some courses and have published those in Y-Train. The University Police, we had a student who was really excited about this, put together a number of trainings for officers of here's how you handle security at the stadium, or here's certain protocols. And those can actually be, one of the features is we can actually protect, I don't want to say protect those, but restrict enrollment. So even though it's in the public catalog, only employees who are in University Police can actually enroll in those particular courses. We do that, there is the feature that we have, if it's proprietary, we can also hide it from the public catalog and make the enrollment be conditioned on where you work or who your supervisor is. So Y-Train's a very robust system and has a lot of capability to basically customize the training to the needs of the department. Examples of courses in Y-Train, there's BYU Emergency Preparedness. We created a child protection training so that any department on campus that has employees who work with minors, like the EFY sports camps, over in where they have the preschool nursery, any employee is required by law to take this child protection training. We just barely the last week rolled out training for employees who could be considered what's called campus security authorities, who are in a role where someone, a student, who maybe has had a crime committed against them, needs to report that, and they may not want to come directly to the police. Maybe they're coming to a hall advisor. So there were actually 4 modules that we created on the Clery Act. Put those in a program. Did an auto-enroll for all residents live, all employees in the University Police Department, and we can do that all through using Y-Train as a learning management system. Now, I know you're going to have questions, and we'll do some questions. I had that slide in there, but what I want to do right now is actually show you a little promotional that we created on Y-Train using the authoring tool that we use for this is Adobe Captivate. And it's sort of like a PowerPoint. It has slides. You can put voiceover. You can put, how you doing? How are you? You can put background sound with it. You can make it interactive. So this little promotional video will give you a little bit of an overview.
Are you tired of boring in-person trainings? Have you felt like the clock would never move, or had one too many people fall asleep during your lectures? Suffer no more. The BYU Human Resource Development online training team is here to help. Introducing YTrain, BYU's online training system. YTrain is a free service offered by HRD that comes at no cost to you as a department of BYU. This online learning management system is rapidly growing with a current catalog of over 700 modules available to all university employees and students.
Many departments around campus have already utilized and experienced the power of the system, including physical facilities, risk management, the College of Engineering and Technology, financial services, and human resource development, just to name a few.
In-person trainings can be time-consuming. They are often inconsistent from session to session, and they are hard to regulate, track, and record. But by using YTrain, these problems can easily be avoided. YTrain courses are timely and standardized. These courses can be accessed at any time and from anywhere that there is an internet connection, providing a more time and cost-effective training. Learners are provided with an individual and interactive experience. Their progress can easily be tracked by their supervisors through YTrain's powerful custom report system. The possibilities of online training are endless. BYU uses Adobe Captivate to create custom trainings that are tailored to meet your exact needs. Captivate can assist you in providing informational, demonstrative, and interactive tutorial-type trainings. Let's take a moment to explore examples of these training types. The training that you're reviewing right now was in fact created with Captivate. It has been up to this point an informational training. Informational trainings do not require immediate action from the learner and continue from beginning to end uninterrupted as the learner listens to the narration and views the information that is presented on the screen. Demonstrative trainings can be powerful tools, especially in showing how to use software programs or websites. Captivate records your actions on the screen so that you can demonstrate the process to the learner. Interactive trainings include the learner as an active part of the training. Features include interactions such as quiz questions and games, or surveys and short response answers. Let's view some examples of these learning activities. Click the Continue button to move on.
See?
Are you sure? There are many options for quiz question formats, in addition to the traditional multiple choice that you just saw. Some of the most common formats include multiple choice, true or false, fill in the blank, short answer, matching, hotspot, arranging in sequence, and drag and drop. Let's look at a matching one. Like the course that you are watching now, it is possible to incorporate any combination of Captivate's functions into a single training course. In addition to Captivate's training formats that we have just reviewed, you can also easily take your current trainings from PowerPoint presentations, Word documents, videos, and even PDF documents and post them to YTrain. Developing an online training course is really quite easy. Most departments hire student employees to coordinate and develop the courses. These students work with subject matter experts to obtain the information, write the script, and create the course using Adobe Captivate. After obtaining administrative approvals, the course is uploaded to YTrain for learners to view. Although there is a slight learning curve when developing your first course, the process becomes simple and efficient. For those who don't have this option, HRD has you covered with their own staff of graphic designers, editors, and online training specialists ready to assist you with this process. We'll help you hire and train your students to develop, write and edit scripts, design, create, and upload the course to Y-Train, and run your first report. There's something here for everyone's training needs. We are excited for you to jump on board and experience the benefits of BYU's Y-Train online training system for yourself. And remember, we are here for you and your online training questions and needs. Welcome to the Y-Train family.
I should mention also, down here, CC is closed captioning, so you can have closed captioning to all of your training as well. Okay, thank you. You can probably just exit that window. We're done with the PowerPoint, so let's go back into Y-Train. Or did you exit that whole? Okay, all right. So just this last page, the exit, you can exit that one. So this takes us back to like the home page. Now, so there's different roles that we can assign. So all full-time, all employees and all students have an account in Y-Train. We sync up every 24 hours with the part of the HR system. So as people change jobs on campus, that all should be automatically updated. If the learner, if the employee does not have anyone who supervises them, they're not a work supervisor, then their role in the system is automatically by default a learner. And they don't have the managerial access rights. If an employee has anyone that they show up as a work supervisor in the HR system, then in Y-Train they have some manage functions, and they're actually able to go in and see the employees that report to them and see those employees' training records. This is a, I actually just set this up as a test case because and we'll go back to my screen, but you see a lot more options when you have the system administrator role. So, and there are multiple roles. So we have some people on campus who are instructor administrators because you can actually use Y-Train to also manage instructor-led classes. For example, risk management recently, just within the last years, has come on board to use Y-Train. So if you take a first aid or CPR class, you actually can sign up for that in Y-Train, and they can manage that. They can figure out here's who's enrolled. They can set classroom limits so that if there's 25 seats available and the 26th person goes in to enroll, they're put on a wait list. And if one of those first 25 who signed up decides to cancel or withdraw, it'll automatically pull the next person, send them an email and say you've been enrolled. So it's a great classroom management opportunity also.
Jerry?
Yeah, questions?
Isn't it also the way now to sign up for the old IT training, but now the library?
The library is moving that direction. I'm not sure where they are in that transition, but they're planning to have, so if you sign up for PowerPoint or Excel or Word or any of the Adobe products, they plan to use Y-Train to manage that classroom. So there's several learning types that we can use in Y-Train. One is we developed an online learning course, and that's a certain type using Adobe Captivate. We can also import into the system a self-training video. In fact, I don't see John Lipinski, but recently they worked with us and they had created 5 or 6 little short videos on the knowledge base, and transferred those in an MP4 file. And what we actually do is have those are saved on a server here on campus so that they load fast, but they're just one of those informational where you're going to watch it from start to finish, and then there's a little box in the bottom that says mark as completed. The learner has to mark that as completed in order for the system to know how much time they spent viewing that. If they miss that, It'll show that they enrolled, but it'll show that they haven't spent any time in it and it hasn't been completed. That's another issue is sometimes people will watch something and they'll see that it says an in process, not completed, and they'll wonder, okay, why is that? Well, it might be because the settings were that there was a test and they had to get at least 80% or more to pass. That's the general default. It might be that the settings said they had to view at least 80% of the slides in order to pass. And so they've got this in process status and they're wondering, how do I get that solved? How come it didn't give me a completed status? So back to the learning types. So there's an online learning course. There's programs that I mentioned. So a program is really, we create a program name and then we bundle courses. And we can bundle courses, not just courses that you've created, but courses from different departments across campus. Doesn't matter, and we can put those all together in a custom program. I mentioned the self-training video. There's also self-training paper. So a PDF document we can actually load into what's called the repository in Y-Train. And so if you have a document that you want, we have the chemistry department had a 70-page chemistry safety document, and they wanted that accessible to all their employees. They don't want to print a copy for everybody, so they put that in Y-Train and then have them have to mark as completed that they have reviewed it, and then they created a little quiz that goes with it to ask a few questions to see if they actually retained some of that information or what important information they wanted them to retain. And then classrooms, the other one that I mentioned. Those are the ones that we're actively using in Y-Train. So let's see. To search, let's go to the home page up here if you would, Tony. So one of the ways to search is a keyword that would be in the title or the description. If you put in something like safety, you're going to bring up a lot of trainings. Well, let's try safety and search. And let's see, it's showing up to 25, but you can see there's quite a few. How many did it say? Oh, 271. So I found 271 training modules that have safety in the title or in the description. And then a person would click on that particular module. It takes them to, opens up a screen. We can put in whatever image we need. We can put in description with information. This says, oh, the duration, a subject it's assigned to. The benefit of the subject is when somebody searches on a particular subject, you'll bring up all of the courses within that to have that subject, who it's for. The next thing, we don't need to go that far, but you'd enroll, confirm the enrollment, and then you go to what's called the knowledge. Actually, let's do that. Go ahead and enroll. It's a test case. Confirm enrollment. Go to the Knowledge Center. So the Knowledge Center is the reason why you have to launch it from the Knowledge Center is the Knowledge Center has the option of having reference resources, having a link to a website, having an exam, having an evaluation. So it allows us to have more features associated with that particular course. At this point, if we launched it, we won't do that. It'll open. They sometimes take up to 2 minutes because the content is actually on a server in Texas. And so it's having to transfer that content, download that basically to the person's computer. They finish the course and they click on, and when they've completed the course requirements, then it transfers that information back to the server to update that. Sometimes the learner will look at it and say, well, it still says in process. I closed it out, it's still showing in process. Well, they just need to refresh the browser to be able to get that completed status to show. One of the things that happen, let's go ahead and close this bar window tab at the top. Sometimes what will happen is somebody will go in and enroll in a program, maybe there's several courses, they complete 1 or 2, and then they leave, they close out, they come back at a later time, and often what they'll do is they'll go back to this home page and do the search, find that, and they'll click on it and it'll say, sorry, participants already enrolled. So they've already enrolled in the course, so it won't let them enroll a second time if they haven't completed that first enrollment. So to find that course, they'll have to go to from home, click on the home, and they'll have to go to current enrollments, the second tab on the second row. Just, right, yeah, right there. The current enrollments tab to see what courses they have previously enrolled in, and they either haven't started it, or they started it but didn't finish it, and it's in process. Okay, if you're a manager, let's go ahead and close out of this that tab. See what happens if it takes us back here. Okay, so as a manager, and you're going to see more tabs here because this is my screen. A manager can go to the Review tab, and then Employee Training History. And why does it say I don't have any employees? That's odd. Because I do. And they usually show up. Let's go to the Assigned Group Review tab. I don't, maybe that's because I switched users. Let's log out and let me come and log in again. Excuse me. Okay, let's try that again. Review and Employee Training History, the third one over now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now not everyone has pictures. I happen to import pictures for some of my employees. So if I come in and look at a training history here for Tana Ainscoe, if you hover over the little cogwheel on the far left and come down to Review Learning Center, and then over here, under Summary, come down to Learning, the one right under there. And then let's go to Records, up at the top tab, Records Transcript. So the Records Transcript, you can kind of scroll down a little bit. The Records Transcript then provides a training history of all training that Tana has enrolled in, and whether she hasn't started it, it's in process, or she has a completed status. Now you'll see that some of these have they're a program. So scanning electron microscope, for example, if you click on the Show Submodules, it'll expand that to show there's 6 or 7 modules that are included in that particular program. And it tells me over here what the status of each of those is. Completed, the date, the time. And I can even click on an individual course, the title, and bring up even additional information. Score, if you scroll down a little bit, it'll even show me a little further. Even come down here, show me the completion date, completion status, total training time, number of launches. So it even tells me the number of times this person launched the course. And I can click on the launch history and actually see they tried it on this date and this time if there was some problem with actually the course. Okay, any questions at this point? I know I've given you a lot of information. Has everybody used Y-Train? Okay, awesome. What's your experience been?
It's been great. I have a question now.
Yes.
If I have, because I do hiring for all of IT, if we had a course that we wanted every employee to take, and they don't all report to me, is there any way for me to run a report and see those?
Yes, what I can do is go into your profile, and there's an option to say this person supervises everyone in this particular department, and that will give you access rights to where you can go in and look at the training record for all of those people that are within that department, depending on if the organization has broken it down that way.
I have a similar question, and that is, I saw my
direct reports under that list? Is there a way similar to that, but my transitive reports and the reports of my reports? Could I see the, see what I'm saying? Those who report to the people that report to me.
Yes, we can work something out with that, yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the challenges we have with dealing with the system is really wasn't designed to have people have more than one job. And so, Terry can help us with this. Terry's our backup person, or our support for, so you can help me if I don't explain this right. So an employee can only live in one organization. So if they work for dining services and they work for custodial, based on some method of determination, it will either put them in physical facilities or it will put them in dining services. And so the one supervisor who, they're not the home department, they'll go into that employee history and they will see that employee and they'll call me and say, how come I can't see this person? Well, I'll go and say, well, that's because they have two jobs and the other department for some reason is the one that's selected. So there is an option where, let's go ahead and close out of this window, this tab, the far right one, and go back to home and go to review. And this probably won't work for me, but assigned group review, and managers will have this tab. An assigned group review will bring up those employees who they directly supervise and for whom their department is the home department. And if they work a second job, they should show up now because there's another setting in the system, what we call groups. And so even though they're in one organization, they're also in the dining services group and in a physical facilities group. And based on and that's more complicated than I know how that all was set up, but Terry knows how that all works. So grateful for Terry and all that she does to keep that working. So now you can see this brings up more people, and for me, probably brings up everybody.
Now, a word of advice that Jerry found the other day, because they were trying to do auto enrolls by an area, and we found that there's a particular area who's not terminating their employees. So they are still in
That would
those
never
groups.
happen in OIT.
So I had people that we got emails and were enrolled in well, basically what it was, the dining services said, the director called me and says, I want all employees in dining services to take hand washing by Monday. So, and then I want to report on Tuesday that shows me who did it and who didn't. So I used an auto enroll feature, so we can create email templates. I created an email template and attached that to the hand washing, and then we have an auto enroll based on, and I picked the dining services department, department, and said enroll everybody and send them an email. And I start getting emails back. I worked for dining services a year ago. Why am I getting this? So then I could go back and say, wait a minute. So anyway, so we worked those things out. The system can't figure all of that out. There's still the need for people. Let's see, just going through to see. So there's reports. Let's go to review, back to the review tab, and then reports. So there are probably over 80 types of canned reports or auto reports that have already been structured. But there is the feature, this is not generally, you have to be given access rights to do the report wizard. So the report wizard is custom reports that departments have asked for. That they couldn't find an auto report that gave them exactly the information they wanted or in the format they wanted. But let's just do, let's go to training reports. So these are all categories. So under training reports, you can see there's individual reports. They have a report number, and they also, if you click over here on one of the question marks, it will tell you about that particular report. Let's give you an example. Let's close that though. And we'll do an example of, say, come down to R209. R209. So, participants report on a particular course. So when you click on that, it brings up this window, and the first thing it gives you is output format. So let's do Microsoft Excel workbook. Come down to organization. Now, depending on where you're in the you actually have to click on the word organization. That's kind of deceiving because you think you type something in there. Then do the all, and then BYU. And so, you have to kind of keep, not everybody's going to see all this. This is because I'm a system administrator, you're seeing the whole organization. But let's just pick, I don't know, let's pick CFO, CIO, yeah. All right. Oh, you actually have to click in the little box to the left, far left, there, right there, and then come down to hit OK. So what we're doing is we're selecting, that's the organization that we're going to filter on. We want to just look at this organization. And now we get to pick on the training course. Notice some of these have a mandatory behind them, and some of them don't. So obviously, so now let's search on what's a good course that you think people would. FERPA. Let's do FERPA. Search. Do a search. Comes up there. Highlight it. Click the down arrow to move it into the selection box, which you can't see yet. Now move down, and then OK. A little further down. OK. OK. Scroll down a little bit more. So there's lots of other options. One of the things we can do is we say, I just want to see it between January 1 of this year and today, for example. We could do that. Let's just, so we, I don't know. So click on the little calendar here, right here, and then January, and then click on the day itself. That'll bring it into it. Now the next calendar, and today's date. Now there's a whole host of other, if we wanted to display additional attributes, it would bring up full-time, part-time. We won't go up through all that. Run now in browser. Okay. Hope it's okay that we're showing all this information. We didn't ask these people. Okay, where did it go? It's still thinking. Okay, so it's brought up a list of employees and their status and when they completed, if they completed. This is that they're enrolled, so they've been enrolled. The status, where's the status column? Oh, right there, okay. Okay, you just have to expand. So you get the idea. So this gives you that kind of functionality. You can also schedule. If you noticed at the bottom, kind of where it had run in browser, there was another option that said schedule, set schedule. So you can actually take a report and say, this is a report I want to have run every week or every month and send to me with a printable copy. And then it's an automatic thing that the system will generate and send that report to you. Any questions on reports? Okay, lots more options that are available there. Let's see. Looking at time, I know we're running out of time. There isn't a cost to use the system. The university's contracted, and this is paid for. The Chief Financial Officer's office, so there isn't a cost for your department to use it. There isn't a cost directly to you for our support and development time. We are limited. We have one instruction designer and 2 graphic designers, and they do graphic design for wellness and other functions in HR. So we're always busy. We've always got content in the pipeline, projects that we're working on. So if a department says, well, we want to develop about 15 modules, we typically say, probably want to buy Adobe Captivate. It's $157 for a computer license, and you can, and the student pick it up a lot faster than I do. They'll pick this up and they'll be able to put something out, within a short period of time. It's easy to update. I had this Clery Act that I sent out, these modules. Somebody called me today and said, I noticed on module 2, slide 2, that you said head resident. We don't use that term anymore. Or it was, head resident. It's hall advisor. It took me probably all of 10 minutes to go back into the Captivate file, change that, republish it, re-upload it into Y-Train, and click a box that says, make this revision be effective for anybody who's already enrolled but hasn't started, or already enrolled and has an in-process status, and it's already done. So the beauty of that is, something changes, if you choose to put something that's dated, or you put some information, a person's name, and then they change, it's not hard to go back in and say, now it's a different person, and everybody who hasn't already completed it gets that revised information. Let's see. One of the other things that I think is just a great thing too, let's go back to the home page, or the home menu choice. Not all training is going to be done in Y-Train. You may go to conferences, professional development conferences that are outside of the university, or you want to track that information. So there's an external training records. If you click on that external training records tab, as you can see, I've used this. 42 years at the university have been nice. If I had this in the beginning, I could go back and say, oh yeah, I took that Knock Your Socks Off customer service one-day workshop up in Salt Lake, 15 years ago. Forgot everything I knew. Not that type of thing, But here's a way that you can track. So if you want to click on one of those, just the title, and you can see where you can add. So this is where I can go in and put in this information. It was a 3-day conference. If I have comments that I want to put in, if there was a certification that I earned. So it becomes a central record. You have an account where you can keep track of all of your professional development training in one place. Okay, let's jump to, we're about out of time. So let's go to, click on the Career Development Center. So like most software, we're probably using less than 10% of what the system can do. It's actually designed to be a performance management system, to where the university is not going to be using this because they've already got a total separate PDP system. But it has that ability to where you can click on goals, for example, where you can have performance goals or development goals, if you want to use that as a way to use it for, as a supplement to the PDP system, to say, okay, let's sit down on our 101 and here's some professional development goals, and one of them might be to take some training in Y-Train, one of them might be to go to a conference, or maybe read something or chair a committee or whatever. You could keep track of that here, and the manager could see those progress of those goals. Another thing that's here is if you click on certifications. So my records they're just way too voluminous. But if I click on one of the title over here, it generates a PDF copy of a certification that was associated with completing that particular course or that particular program that I can print. And this is also a date, so this, if it has an expiration date, so that means, I just realized that means that I'm going to get a lot of emails a year from now saying I need to retake this, because I've got all these certifications that are expiring. It has to be done every year. But the idea is that you can have an award or certification associated with completing. Okay, let's go ahead and close that. There's a lot of other things. You can create training paths, and you can suggest training, and managers can assign employees to take training, and so forth. But that's just additional functionality. Well, I think that's probably all that. Any questions, suggestions? So my encouragement is for departments to use this resource. It's a wonderful resource, and we don't, as people find out what this can do and how it can help them to track the training. So, I had dining service, the director called last night and say, we've had an injury, an emergency. I need to know, I don't know if OSHA was there, I need to know right now, did this person take this certain training? And I could look that up and say, he did, here's a copy of their training record, so we're protected in terms of their training, that training was given. You had a question, sorry.
Yeah, the best way to interact with your group, would that be through the Y Train?
Through contact
email or
contact
Contact
me.
you directly?
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
some business cards here, also got some brochures that I'll leave up here, and just give me a call and,
Does the contact us up there go to you as well?
yes, if you click on that contact us, it actually goes to myself, Tana Ainsco, my assistant, and Ed McCracken, who's in financial services, who was involved when they first made the purchase there, so good support. Shane?
We do have our own in-house instructional designer to help with all this, Tony.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
My best kept secret, right?
Tony.
I am an instructional designer.
Tony
both
is an
training.
instructional designer. So, well, that's all I have. Any other questions? Thank you for the opportunity.